The man who was charged with this was released on bail a couple days after this happened with the assistance of a bail fund group. Knowing that the vice president has in the past supported bail fund groups.
I would have to dig into this further, Jackie, and I'm happy to do that after the brief.
She said something that reminded me of what I miss as well. She said, it's so good to be home in Ohio. No, I really mean it. And I said, you're probably the only one here that understands that every time I get a chance, I go home to Delaware. You think I'm joking? I'm not.
They argue that they don't think those Federal Reserve delays have any actual effect. How do you respond to that?
Well, I would say at a time where I think most people agree that inflation and costs are the top, if not one of the top issues for every American in the country, the argument that it wouldn't be best to have a fully confirmed full Federal Reserve Board just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
Fact is, the Fed is fully functional. The FOMC has 9 of its 12 members in place. They could raise rates today if they wanted to. They could do it tomorrow. They could do it at any time. But what's really ironic is that it's the chairman's decision not to move 5 nominees forward. We made it clear, I made it clear last week to the chairman, repeatedly, publicly, and privately, we are perfectly happy to vote on 5 of the 6 nominees. That would be 4 Fed governors and the director of the FHFA. If we did, actually most of them would get considerable Republican support. They'd move on. And if there were a concern about vacancies on the Fed, then the chairman could fix that very quickly. He chooses not to. He prefers to have the vacancies. That's his choice.
Ukraine, the US language seems to have changed from imminent to highly likely back to imminent again. Is that because you're trying to second guess Vladimir Putin all the time, or were you closer to the escalation at one point?
I would say that several weeks ago, I think for maybe a day, we used the word imminent, and we believed we sent the wrong message that was not intended.
Thank you, Senator, for that question.
You're welcome. Let me ask you again. Do you think it's appropriate for prosecutors to say, I disagree with the legislature and the people, and I'm not going to prosecute an entire line of cases?
Comes before them, and almost
Yes,
every
ma'am, but that's not what I'm asking. I know, you're smart. Let me say it again. Do you think that it's okay for prosecutors to say,
Senator, I agree that prosecutors have the legal option to use the flexibility given to them.
When they exercise that option, do you agree with that?
I think it would depend on the circumstance under.
And I think my question is pretty straightforward. Do you agree with that or disagree with it?
Senator, I have never worked as a prosecutor. I have.
Yes, ma'am, but you've read about it.
Yes, sir.
What's going on? Do you agree with it or disagree with it?
Senator,
I started the cancer moonshot, which I worked very hard on in the administration I served in last.
Gasoline prices are up 20 cents a gallon over the last 30 days on average. Is the president saying that if people are paying more at the pump, that is essentially a direct result of Vladimir Putin's action?
In terms of the price of gasoline, what we've seen is we know back in December it went down by about 10 cents thanks to tapping the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Think
about it. Think about it. It was well intended originally when the child care tax credit, when the child tax credit existed early on, because you said, well, we got to give a break for raising kids. But I remember it used to drive my dad nuts because we had 4 kids. It was a lot less. It was less than $1,000 then. But if you're making what was $12,000 a year, that was like making 40 now or 50. If you're making that kind of money, you didn't have any taxes you could deduct it from. So there wasn't any benefit for your kids.
U.S. Energy Information Administration shows data that Russian oil being imported in the U.S. has been increasing over the past year. In May of 2021, it was the most on record. Now, the president said he wants to use all tools to keep gas prices down. Is he looking at temporary things to keep gas prices down should there be a Russian invasion? Or is there any consideration to reversing some of the policies and going back to increasing U.S. energy independence?
I don't have anything to detail for you, in terms of what he is considering. But
will the president make a decision on any new energy policies to impact prices at the pump? Because even without an invasion, prices have risen beyond where they were before the emergency reserve release back in November.
Continuing to assess, and he's continuing to look at options. I don't have a prediction of any decision, though. So Republicans are out there saying inflation's a problem, it's a huge issue, we agree, and then they're not even bothering to show up to even vote against these nominees to the Federal Reserve. What message is that sending to the American public? So and I would note just on Sarah Bloom Raskin, since you asked me about her as well, she's one of the most qualified individuals to ever be nominated to the Federal Reserve.
Particular mandates set out
but,
by
but,
law.
But I know about all that, but did you mean it? You said it, here it is, big as Dallas. I read the op-ed.
Should not be choosing winners and losers.
Yes, ma'am. So you disagree with the editorial?
The editorial was one that I wrote, and I wrote it in the context of to any particular sector.
So you changed your mind?
I have made myself completely clear. The whole point of the op-ed.
A couple guys might have expressed them what I thought was unprofessionally, which was surprising to me because it's something I've never seen in the Border Patrol.
For evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. That's exactly what's happening here. Good men are doing nothing. You're allowing illegal aliens to be dropped off in communities.
What I can say is that as an elected official, I've been one of the most vocal members of Congress on inclusion of a path to citizenship for the over 11 million, potentially upwards of 13 million immigrants, undocumented people in the United States. We've thrown everything on the line. And not just in a path to citizenship, but we've also fought for the inclusion. We fought tooth and nail for the inclusion of undocumented people in relief packages, stimulus checks, FEMA assistance, and we've actually helped huge amounts of undocumented families in our district get federal relief that many others were trying to lock them out of.
The previous one, why do you think he didn't act then?
I hope you get a chance to ask him.
Joe Biden ran as Harry Truman. He thought he was going to govern as Franklin Roosevelt. But this to me looks just like Jimmy Carter in every possible way. Is he going to do to them what Jimmy Carter did, which is give us Ronald Reagan?
I heard a minute ago Admiral Kirby make reference to that the Biden administration, I think he said, quote, "We're still digesting what happened back in August."
What has the administration learned from the chaos out of Kabul last August?
Well, we're still digesting what happened in August, Bill.
And about the price of eggs and bacon. I mean, a pound of bacon is almost $9. Jesus. I mean, that's it for me and bacon. I never thought I would give it up.
They were spying on a sitting president. That is, you know, you and I both remember when President Trump said the Democrats are spying on me, and the corporate media collectively laughed at him. They mocked at him. They said, what a ridiculous claim for him to make. And to the extent Hillary Clinton is complicit with this, her campaign is complicit with it. If this is true, it's a lot bigger than Watergate. That was a bungled third-rate burglary. It was wrong. People went to jail for Watergate, and people need to go to jail for this if these allegations are true.
The biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign.
There's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is. No. It's all over the place. Leslie, sir, they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes. And we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
We can't verify.
It's been totally verified.
No.
It's been, just go down and get the papers. They spied on my campaign, they got caught.
No.
And then they went much further than that, and they got caught. And you will see that, Leslie. And you know that, but you just don't want to put it on the air.
Bogus claims of spying on the president's campaign.
The QAnon through things like 9/11 trutherism, the Barack Obama birth certificate conspiracy theory, the Trump Spygate stuff.
This is a big deal. I mean, it's shocking to me that this is not receiving more coverage in the press. I don't think any of the Sunday shows mentioned it.
They sort of reverse Rubio. Let's see. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is alleged. We got to go in and figure out exactly what is there, because this will be one area where I will disagree with Senator Rubio. The idea of making stuff up about your political opponents is in no way unique to those who oppose Donald Trump. This has happened repeatedly in both directions. So
this isn't just about hacking and leaking emails. This is about a larger information effort by the Russians.
Is that spying?
Again, I can't speak to that report. I refer you to the Department of Justice.
Generally speaking. with monitoring internet traffic.
Jackie, my answer is not going to change. I refer you to Department of Justice. I can't speak to that.
Bill Barr said it in 2019. He said spying took place and there was a basis for his concern about the spying. So, and each time that those statements were made, the press and the Democrats, oh, no, that's not true. Well, we knew it was true. And now, of course, Durham has more than confirmed that.